We specialise in providing preparation into some of the very best universities in the UK. There are some colleges that want you to go to a university. We want you to go to one of the very best universities. Typically our A-level results are much higher than the national average. Last year, for example, 62% of our students got A star and B grades for their A-levels versus a national average of 53. And we had 78% of our foundation students that progressed into top 50 ranked universities in the UK. So typically, there would be two areas of criteria for your admission. It would be your English language criteria and it would be your academic criteria. So for English language, to come into a foundation program, you would typically need to have an IELTS score of between 4.5 and 5, depending on the intake that you're starting. Those are the minimum requirements. Obviously, if your English is higher, that's going to be even better. Academically, it would depend very much on the level of the program that you're studying. So if you're coming into a foundation program or an A-level program, the requirement is going to generally be a little bit higher than if you're going into a GCSE. So typically we would need students to have what we would call satisfactory completion of high school, and that would need to include grades in maths and in English. But we can give the specific criteria in more detail upon your application. So we would always recommend that a student comes to Carandash and has a conversation with the counsellors, simply for the fact that at Carandash the counsellors can help you understand what would be the best programme for you. So the best thing for you to do is to obviously finish your high school programme or to come with your transcripts into Carandash. They can then talk to you specifically about what you want to do in terms of the university aspiration, in terms of the college, the Bellerbys campus that you should come to, because we have 3 different locations. And then after that, they can help to place you at each individual one and lodge your application. So you would typically need to have a copy of your transcripts. You would need to have a copy of your English language qualifications, and you would also need to have your passport and general rights to actually go ahead and make an application to come to the UK. We offer a really broad range of courses at just about every level. So I've spoken a lot about courses at A-level and foundation. We also offer a GCSE program. So we have a GCSE pathway that's available to students from age 14 and above. The GCSE pathway program offers progression into science pathways, into humanities pathways, into business pathways, and that's for students to really prepare them into an A-level or a foundation program. At foundation level, we can offer programs in everything from business to humanities, to art, to law, to media. So just about every kind of academic discipline is available at Bellerbys at either a foundation or an A-level program. We also have specialised programs, for example, in medicine. So let's say, for example, you're a student that wants to go into medical school. We have an elite medics pathway available at Bellerbys Brighton. This is for highly aspirational students, and we have this in partnership with the University of Sussex. So you would typically have to have the equivalent of 5 A to B grades to be applicable for this program. The advantages in coming into this program, though, that you would actually get specific medical support from academics and other students at the University of Sussex, and they would guarantee you an interview at the medical school at University of Brighton and Sussex. We can't guarantee you a place, but we will guarantee you an interview if you actually complete that program. So it's a very competitive and very attractive option. So we definitely want to encourage the very best students coming into Bellerbys. So we do offer academic scholarships for our GCSE, for our foundation and our A-level programs. So the scholarships available range between 20% to 30% to 40%, and those are all based on academic criteria. So the better you've performed in high school, the more likely you are to get the higher scholarships. We do also have what we call foundation bursaries, and to be applicable for a foundation bursary, you have to show promise. So it may not necessarily be a case where you've met the academic criteria, but if we can look at your application, we can look at your personal statement, and if there's something that comes across over the page that suggests to us that you're a student that's really got the potential to do big things, then we would be willing to consider you for a financial bursary, which would discount the price of your foundation program. So we would always recommend that you inquire with Karen Dash around those bursaries and scholarships upon application, and they can help facilitate that process. So almost all of the students at Bellerbys are international. We're an international school. We want to encourage students from all over the world. We have 76 different unique nationalities. Across the campuses there's about 900 students, so just about all of those students will be international. And the big advantage in coming to an international school like Bellerbys is it means that our teaching staff and our academic criteria has been specifically designed, and the staff have been specifically trained to actually best suit international students. If you come to an international school like Bellerbys, there's going to be teachers on hand that are going to be able to speak in your language. They're going to be able to provide you support with getting yourself registered in the UK. They're going to be able to provide you support if you're feeling homesick, if maybe you don't understand the work in the right way. And this is what we would call the best kind of soft landing before you then go on to a university. We found statistically that international students perform a lot better if they come to an environment that better prepares them for life in the UK before they then head off and go to a university. So we actually offer a Bellerbys summer program, which is useful for any student that's actually looking to really sample what life is like at Bellerbys before they actually experience the full academic program. So if you come to the Bellerbys summer program, you can do a 2-week program or a 4-week program. Typically it would be in July or in August. And the big advantage here is that it gives you a chance to really experience what life is like at Bellerbys and also enjoy a fantastic summer in the UK. We run our Bellerbys summer program in Bellerbys Brighton, which is by the sea, one of the very best cities in the UK. So you've got lots of really fun activities like beach barbecues and parties and different sports and social activities. But you also get a chance to sample what life is like for a Bellerbys student. So the two different types of summer program that you can do are either the academic summer program or the creative summer program. If you're doing the academic program, you would have courses like business, geography, or maths. If you're doing the creative summer, then you're going to be doing media, film studies, so it allows you to really get into some creative areas. But everybody that comes to the summer program will be doing fun social activities. So it's a great way to make friends, sample what life is like at Bellerbys, and hopefully stay with us for a foundation or an A-level program when you're slightly older. And just finally, one of our favourite aspects about Bellerbys summer is that if you come to the Bellerbys summer program and you say, hey, I love this, I want to stay and do my A-level or foundation, we would refund the price of your summer school. So it's basically a free summer program if you stay with us after that. We do actually provide our own accommodation at Bellerbys. You don't have to stay in our accommodation, but a lot of students do because it's very nice and it's very convenient. So we actually have accommodation in Bellerbys Brighton and Bellerbys London that's right on the campus. So you just walk out of the actual classroom and you're right there with the accommodation. Students would have their own room, they would have their own shower built into the room, and they can also opt in for an option where their breakfast and their evening meal is provided as part of that package. In Bellerbys Cambridge, we have accommodation, but it's slightly off campus. It's only about 15 minutes away, but we do provide a shuttle bus service twice a day that allows students to go back and forth to the accommodation, and that's free of charge. The other option for students is what we call host families. So a host family is basically a family that we would screen very, very carefully to make sure that they're suitable, and they would provide you with a room and board for the entire time that you're studying with us. One of the advantages, in fact, in going to a host family is that it gives you a really great opportunity to learn English. You're living with a family that's typically going to be native English speakers, so they'll be communicating with you in English every day. And also, if maybe you've come from a really nice home environment and you don't feel you're quite ready, or you don't want to be away from another nice home environment, that's a really nice transition, going to live with another family in the UK that'll be really excited about having an international student in their house that they can really take on as a member of the family. Why Bellerbys? Great question. Easiest one to answer though. I could give 101 different reasons why Bellerbys is the best option in the UK, but the easiest one to me is the easiest answer, sorry, for me is that Bellerbys has been doing this for a really long time. Bellerbys College has been around for around 60 years, and we have placed literally thousands of students at fantastic universities, and we've seen those students go on to have fantastic careers. There's students that have been at Bellerbys that have started their own businesses. There's students that have been at Bellerbys that have come back to work for study group. There are students that have gone to Bellerbys and studied at some of the very best universities in the UK, and they've done this having a fantastic experience. So we're not the kind of college that you come to and your entire life will be spent working. You'll have a really good time. You'll meet international friends from all over the world. You'll have a career in the area that you want to study, and the staff and the teams at Bellerbys legitimately care about your future. It's a big college. There's 3 big colleges, but it's a real family environment with a lot of staff that have worked there for a very, very long time and really genuinely care about your outcomes and want to make sure that you have the career and the future that you deserve. So if you want to come somewhere that is preparing you for success and really cares about you, your individual journey towards success, then come and join us at Bellerbys College.